Things are getting awfully fashy to the south of us, so I have to devote yet another day of journalism to reporting on the Trump administration. Because Trump just made good on a campaign promise to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. And then he defied a court order that demanded he halt the deportations that he had expedited using this extremely legally shaky invocation of the law. That's right, Trump went ahead with the deportations anyways because I guess the US is now a place where the law is made up and the courts don't matter. And they wonder why we don't want to be the 51st state. At this point, I'm honestly freaked out that we even share a border with you guys. See, the Alien Enemies Act is the same 227-year-old law that was used to intern 31,000 non-citizens of Japanese, German, and Italian descent during World War II. You guys remember that whole Japanese internment camp thing that the US administration ended up having to apologize for? Yeah. So this law basically allows the US to detain, relocate, or deport non-citizens from a foreign country that's considered an enemy during wartime. Now you might be wondering right about now, hey Rachel, the US isn't at war with the countries that the people who are being deported are from, so how does this law make sense here? And you would be right to be confused. Because no, America isn't at war with Venezuela, which is the nationality of 137 people who were deported using this act over the weekend. So Trump is invoking wartime legislation during peacetime to speed up mass deportations. His administration is trying to justify this by claiming that a Venezuelan prison gang called Tren de Aragua is somehow conducting irregular warfare against the United States. Which means that, in his administration's mind, they can deport anyone aged 14 or older who his government claims are members of this gang. As Catherine Jan Ebright, a lawyer with the Brennan Center for Justice, wrote on Blue Sky, the administration is trying to get away with acting on baseless accusations. That should concern everyone. But Jan Ebright also pointed out that the administration screwed up the drafting of their proclamation invoking this act, because nothing within it gives the president unreviewable discretion to say who is and isn't a member of this gang. But the thing that's pretty spooky here is, does that even matter? Will the Trump administration even listen to courts who tell them that what they're doing is illegal? Because, as I mentioned earlier, here's the thing. Yesterday, after a court order forbid Trump from moving ahead with these deportations using this wartime power, he did it anyways. Meaning Trump's administration just openly defied a court order. That is a huge escalation of Trump's challenge to the US Constitution's systems of checks and balances and the independence of the judicial branch of the government. If the US government can deport any non-citizen who they claim is a member of a gang who they decide is engaged in, quote, irregular warfare against the US without giving that individual a chance to contest those claims, and if the Trump administration is willing to disregard court orders preventing them from doing so, all while they're detaining and deporting people who have visas and green cards, then at what point do we question if the US is still a country with due process and rule of law? No wonder American journalists are starting to sound the constitutional crisis alarm. Meanwhile, some right-wingers are starting to get real comfortable flexing their more fascist tendencies. Like this prominent right-winger who is now calling for journalist Mehdi Hassan to be denaturalized and deported because he doesn't like his speech. So yeah, it feels like we're rapidly approaching this phase of the United States. And as a resident of its very close neighbor who's very economically intertwined with the US, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little nervous. What do you think of all this?